Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Bad Blood, written by John Carreyrou. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right, so this work here, basically what happens, we have this lady, this woman by the name of Elizabeth Holmes. She's from a well-off family. She goes to the prestigious Stanford. And Ivy League kids, they always have a chip on their shoulder. They want to become something, especially anybody who goes to an Ivy League school, that they have a chip on their shoulder. That's like the number one requirement of going to an Ivy League school. You can't go to an Ivy League school to be a bum. It's not allowed. All right. If you go to an Ivy League school, you just have to be great afterwards. Like a person who goes to an Ivy League school and they're not something great, it's just an oxymoron. It's not supposed to be, because I mean the whole thing with Ivy League degrees, it's all about status. If you say you go to Harvard and you're not rocking a Mercedes or a Lambo with the mansion, it doesn't go, because like the Harvard degree or the Stanford degree should go hand in hand with the Lambo and the mansion and the famous lifestyle. That's the A list lifestyle. I mean, I know it's not supposed to be like that. I know this could be a whole discussion, but that's the type of society we live in. I mean, if you're gonna get an A-list education, people expect you to have an A-list life. So everybody that goes into an Ivy League school, people expect the like great things out of you. And so Elizabeth Holmes, she goes to Stanford, and right away, she develops this technology where you can prick your finger, and the technology can say what type of disease you have. And by her sophomore year, she drops out and she starts the Theranos company, and it gets a lot of investors. It starts to make a lot of money. A lot of people join in. She gets an executive board. People keep joining in. They're all part of the dream, and the company goes up to being worth $9 billion, and that's understandable. It's the early 2000s. And even so today in 2024, I mean, if you have a disease, if you think you're sick, if you go to the doctors, they're going to send you to a clinic, and the clinic, they're going to just draw like vials of blood from you. I mean, depending on the disease, they can draw several vials of blood from you, and um, especially if you go to the hospital and you don't know what's wrong with you, they're gonna keep drawing blood until they figure it out. So, and reading blood can take a couple of days. It could take a week. It could take 2 weeks. I mean, people who have gotten their blood drawn, you sometimes the waiting process could be very long or very short. It really depends. So the fact that this lady develops this technology, they just prick your finger, and you can go to your local Walgreens and prick your finger, and they can have a resolved for you. It's revolutionary, and that makes sense that the company goes up to being worth $9 billion, and everything changes because think about it. If you can get faster blood test results and you can know what's wrong with you, you can start treatment much earlier, and that could be the decision between life and death. Because if we could start your treatment 2 months earlier or 3 months earlier, it could probably those 3 months that save you. Just think about it, because it gives the disease less time to develop and to become worse. So that's why the company from the beginning, from the get-go, it was just like, wow, this is revolutionary. But the thing is, the blood tests don't work. They're not accurate. They don't do their jobs. And when people in the company start to develop to understand this and start to report this, the companies now is making it, there's too much money involved. There's too much high, there's too much people involved making good money. And anybody who has a grievance, anybody who sees something wrong, they shut them up. They tell them to be quiet, or they push them down. And so, yeah, yeah, definitely. So, the story goes on, The story goes on, and basically, you start to get these people that come in and they keep challenging what's going on in the company, and this is not good. This is not good, and the false test results keep coming in, and everything starts crumbling. Elizabeth Holmes, she puts her lover in second in command in the company, and that's just not good. I mean, when you have a company and the two people at the top are in a romantic relationship, it can be a problem because when you're running a company, you want people who are sharp, people who are going to question each other, people who are going to work together, people who are going to look out for the company and not for their lover. So the fact that Elizabeth Holmes puts her lover in second in command in the company was just a bad sign. And for me, it was like the first thing that says that the company's not going in the right path, because if you're a leader, you know, you can't mix pleasure with business. That's all I always say. So if you have anything to say about the company, basically, you were shut up, you were followed, you were, they took care of you, okay? And really, the way it's going, it's like, anything could happen to anybody who didn't approve of what the company was doing. So there's so many bad things going on here because when you think about it, these tests are not working. They're not telling the truth, and people who go in and have their blood tested and they get false results. This is what's happening. Let's say you're sick, you get a blood test and they give you false results. Well, now you could be putting your family at risk. You could be putting your spouse at risk, your husband, your wife, your kids, your family members, because you think you're getting a blood test, you think you're getting results, and your doctors are getting these results, and you think these results are good, but they're not good. And so there's so many things that are just upside down, and it's affecting people's lives, because you're messing with people's health, because blood tests, it's the number one way that doctors know what's going on inside your body. And when you have this Theranos company that's making people test their blood and they're getting false results, you're just destroying people's lives. And so ultimately the truth comes out, and Elizabeth Holmes and her lover, they do face the music, they do face justice, and the truth comes out of how many cover-ups there within the company, the cover-ups, lab technicians who covered things up, and there's a suicide, and people who are being you know pretty much they made them shut up. People who knew the science, people who had backgrounds in biology, they told them to shut their mouths because it was $9 million. I mean, the people at the top, they want to keep their money, they want to protect their money, especially when you have that much money. I mean, you could probably kill somebody because, well, you have that much money. You could do whatever you want at that point. And Elizabeth Holmes, she just wanted to keep her business, keep her company going, even though that she knew that the results were false. In terms of deeper meaning analysis here, I mean, this work is just, it's massive. I mean, the fact that this happened in the U.S., the fact that this company, went into action, went into business with Walgreens, and and yet the tests weren't working is just massive. Um, it's just massive. And think about the people who got results that weren't accurate. Think about the people who got results who thought they were accurate and went with the idea that they were accurate. So um, many people's lives were at risk. You imagine how many people probably died from these false results because you're probably walking around thinking maybe you're healthy and you're not, or you're probably walking around with a disease that you think you don't have but you do have. So it's really dark. What money and what power and what the hunger to be successful or to make a name for yourself can do to human beings. So Elizabeth Holmes, I mean, she doesn't live up to her family's name. She doesn't live up to being a student of Stanford. She will be an infamous individual because of what she done, because of her invention that didn't work. She wasn't a revolutionary inventor. She was just a con woman, basically, that just went down with the ship. Even though the thing didn't work, she just kept on beating this drum until it all came crashing down. So, very interesting work here. Very fascinating that a company became $1 billion company without having anything. I mean, literally, anybody could just grab a pencil and prick somebody and say, well, I've developed a new scientific way to draw information. Because her thing didn't work, her technology didn't work. So, what was valued at $9 billion? It was just a lie. That's the only thing that was valued at $9 billion. So, a whole company was formed for nothing, around nothing, and that itself is shocking. It was just a bunch of cover-ups. It was just a bunch of Elizabeth, inspiring people, and these talks that made people invest, that made people think that she knew what she was doing. $1 billion of investment money was lost. And it really shows you what can happen in Silicon Valley in California. Yes, it's great to be in a country where people can become billionaires and create new businesses, but at the same time, it opens up doors for things like this to happen, and you just have to have people to keep watching for people that have high expectations and high dreams, but they don't have the science or the technology to back it up. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.